Hey there gang, Byron here with your good old pal Benji, the CJ5. Hey, a little context before we get started on today's adventure. I was recently doing some research on an 1893 survey map of my area, and I noticed that the surveyor, as normal, had located several cabins across the area, a few mining camps and things of that nature. But then I noticed on the map something that was marked with a simple name, Norgard. Well, of course, my curiosity spiked and I thought, I've got to go check this out. Could be a really cool piece of history that nobody's seen in a long, long time. So let's hop aboard Benji, go back in time a few days, venture across the county into Section 32, and see if we can find out exactly what Norgard was. Well, not to, offend anyone that might have tuned in to see Benji today, but you're not going to see a whole lot of her. Benji got us to where we're going, and she'll probably get us home, but we're at a gate, and so this is as far as she goes. So we've got about a 1 mile hike in to get to the area that we want to search for this potential home site, and so we're going to pack our gear, just kind of the same gear we did on the last one, if you watched the last one. Some basic digging tools, got my pin finder / metal detector. It's blustery today. There's a lot of wind coming in off the Cabinet Mountains here. So I'm not expecting any rain, but it looks like it could potentially rain. Anyway, let's gear up, head out. Benji down there resting. See you later, Benji. Enjoy your nap. The symbol that we see on the map that we're going to search for today is labeled Norgard. N-O-R-G-A-R-D. So the general consensus of some of the folks that I've spoken with about this is that Norgard was someone's last name, and that this was probably a residence, I'm guessing. Some kind of a ranch, perhaps. Settlement up here, likely tied to mining. There is an old mine up here that was referred to as the Herbert Mine. It was never a patented mine. I think it was just worked by the folks that lived up here, and I would say pretty good chance that the Norgards established it, although that's just a guess on my part. All right, so I've meandered up the road here a little ways, and I've gotten to where I'm just about perpendicular to the Norgard home site that's shown on the map, and it's down in that dark down in there. So we're going to venture down in there. I'm going to acknowledge one thing here real quick though, and that's that there were not good and significant ties to this home site in the notes. The notes that were prepared by the surveyor, they don't make any mention at all about this structure being here, and so obviously he knew it was here. He must have made some kind of call to it because the drafter put it on the face of the plat map. Whether or not he made any accurate ties to it, or if it was just kind of a guess on the map, he just said, well, it's kind of in this quarter section. Good enough. So we might be in for a little bit of a game of cat and mouse with where it might be when we get down into the bottom here. Let's go. And here is the mighty Prospect Creek. All right, maybe not so mighty right now. Bear, likely. Cool. kind of a big raised area right here, big mound. Oh, what's it? Oh. Okay. What do we got here? 4x4 post and some flagging. Okay. Hanging in a tree there. Oh, I think I could tell you what this is now. Here, let me show you and I'll explain. You see that tag? All right, so it says location mon, LOCMON, BHLK number 13. So this is somebody's maybe unpatented mining claim down in here. So let me just do a little bit of explanation here. In my research, I didn't find any patented mineral claims in this area that dated back to the 1890s or when the Norgard area was here, Norgard home site, if you will. So fast forward a little bit to 1960, there was a huge patent placed out across this valley. So in the scope of things, fairly recent. However, of the, I think, 10 claims that they had in that original layout, original map, they only patented one of them. And it's north and east of where we're at right now by quite a ways. So what are we looking at here? This could be one of the location corners for one of the claims that never made it to patent. And so this is just a remnant of something, but it does have some fairly new flagging next to it, which is interesting. So I got a little bit excited thinking maybe we had found the Norgard site, but I don't think we did. We're just standing in someone's mineral claim. Stand that post right up there. Just look at there. Good as new. All right, so I finally found my way to my pin. Timber's thick enough in here, it really throws the GPS for a loop, but I'm close here. You could have built a cabin here, but it doesn't look like the best place. And I'm thinking that the GLO surveyor maybe had a little bit of a guess as to where the cabin was. I think I'm gonna have to really widen my search and maybe start looking for places that would represent a good building site. I'm gonna keep buzzing around here a little bit, see if I get a hot spot, and then we might expand our search out a little bit. Let's go use our eyes for a little bit, not worry so much about finding metal, just see if we can't find some place that looks like a building site. Looking again for any kind of rectangular or square notches in the ground, anything that looks like any kind of developed site. With it in mind that we're looking for a 133-year-old site. Oh. Somebody's talking too much. Sheared their jaw right off. I'm pretty sure I just found a road. An old road, and I mean old. Right here in front of me. A little hard to make out. We can kind of see the whole gap in the trees. Definitely on an old road bed, and then it goes around this way. Turns and goes back that way, kind of to the west. Interesting. My wind is whipping. Well, we are not having any luck down here. So I've been focusing all my efforts downstream so far. That is downstream of where the pin location was. So I think maybe we'll try upstream, See if we see anything up there. Kind of a needle in a haystack again, man. This, just that you'd want to think that if there was an actual structure here, a residence where someone was living maybe through the whole year, they would have built something substantial enough that you would see some remnants of it. I don't see any signs of fire, but the 1910 fire, which was a very significant event in our area, it could have swept through here and it could have burnt this structure down. Anyway, we'll continue on up here and see what we can find. Check this out. You get two guesses, woodpecker or bear. Look at that. Somebody has been busy. Ooh, baby, look at that. Looking for claw marks. But you got these little holes. I'm thinking this is a very, very, very ambitious woodpecker. But if I'm wrong, you know, I'll be in the belly of a bear really soon. No, that's really cool though. Look at all that sawdust. Look at this. Look at this cedar. Look at this guy. That's a bit of a tank. Whew. This thing's got to be 6 feet on the butt, maybe. That's been there a while. No slouch here either. Let me show you this. Talking about 1910 fire earlier. This could be some remnants of it if it actually did sweep through here. Woo. Here to my west, I've been kind of watching up there and I see a road. Looks like a really, really old grown-in road up the hill here. 200 or 300 feet, something like that maybe. I'm gonna walk up to it and then start heading back down to the south a little bit. It might be a good vantage point to look down into the bottom because it's up on the hill a ways, and then maybe I can spy something that looks like a cabin or a home site, something like that. And if I don't do any good on that, we'll get back out to the main road. I'm going to take you up to where the Herbert mine used to be. There's always a chance that the GLO surveyor intended for the cabin site or the Norgard home site to be closer to that mine. The Herbert. Who was Herbert anyway? Herbert Norgard, perhaps? Oh yeah, good road. Wow. Well, maybe we'll get lucky and our cabin site will be just off of this road. All right, I'm going to keep an eye out for a cabin. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm right above where I first started searching when I got in here. And this road is so good, I'm going to walk it down a little bit farther. Really nice game trails. Lots of animals in this nape of the way, neck of the woods. Well, I found another little side road. I think takes me back down to where I was looking for the Norgard area earlier. I think this is the same road I had noticed down in there that kind of swung through that was grown in. I tell you ever just feel like you're just hunting ghosts? Like like this thing is just right around me somewhere and screaming at me, but I can't see it. Anyway, I think we're going to take this road out, this grown-in road that I found. I think it'll take us right back up to the main road that I walked in on. And then just a little bit farther up the road is the Herbert mine, the reclaimed Herbert mine. The mine's not there anymore. Looks like the feds came in and did a reclamation on it. But we're gonna maybe go up there and just pop around and see if there's any signs of any old mining cabins or structures up there. Like I say, maybe that was the intent. Maybe that's where the Norgards was up there. Made it out of the brush, and I'm gonna take 5 and drink a little water because I think I'm a little dehydrated. So obviously in the survey that I'm referencing from to locate the Norgard cabin, that survey goes back to 1893. So you'd have to say, well, if that was the time that the rectangular survey system was coming through here, and section 32 that we were in was surveyed, why didn't Mr. Norgard, request a patent for a portion of property from the federal government? Well, we don't know that. All I can tell you is that I've gone as far back as is possible, all the way back into the earliest county records. And in this section, there was never, ever a piece of property ever created, patented, and purchased by the Norgards. So my guess is they just occupied this property. They had a mining claim on it. And eventually that played out and they left. No reason to stay all the way up here. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Mr. Norgard never owned property up here. He just was a settler, an occupier, if you will. And that was pretty common before the rectangular survey system. People would more or less squat on the property and maybe stake some sort of a claim to it, and then follow up with the federal government later with a patent if they decided they were going to stay. Would have been a great way to get yourself a bunch of property back in those days. Okay, hoofed it on up the hill here. I'm at the location of what they called the Herbert mine. This has obviously been reclaimed. Here you go. That's all that's here now. I'm seeing more tailings up the hill. There could be more mine shafts up there, I don't know, but this has all been reclaimed. Somebody's been hauling water up here. I'm guessing it's probably the people that have the private property up above this. The proximity of this to the Norgard is ridiculously close now that I'm here. Maybe in the early days, this mine, the Herbert mine, was referred to as the Norgard mine. That's a chance that the Norgard and the Herbert are really one and the same. Kind of got a second wind here, and I'm a glutton for punishment. Let's go up there and see what is around those upper tailings. Maybe they only reclaimed this part, the lower part, and there's still some shafts up there. We'll go look. All right, it's starting to rain. We're up on this upper tailings dump. Okay, so those of you that follow anyone that goes out on these old mineral claims, mine sites, know this protrusion of excavated dirt wouldn't be here if somebody wasn't pulling it off the hillside somewhere. Now, it could have come out of a draw. They could have been hydraulically mining, washing this down here, or it could have come out of a mine shaft. Where did it come from? That's what we're gonna see if we can find. Yep, there's been some workings up in here, so there's no tunnel there now, but I'm guessing there used to be. Yeah, but there's more excavation or sloughing up above us. And yeah, they pushed a lot of material out of here. There probably is, as much as I'm seeing here, there could have been mine cars. They might have had mine cars coming out of this. Let's pop up here and see if we can see something. All right, so up the hill here, 40 feet from that first indication of a mine shaft, and we've got this depression. This could be where the shaft sunk or imploded on itself. Oh yeah, sure enough. this raised point here. Boy, it's gonna be hard for you to see. And then this is a hole about 6 feet deep. And so that would indicate to me that where I'm pointing down below me, which is about 25, 30 feet vertically below me, if that tunnel went in there, then this collapsed here, collapsed in on it, this hole that we're looking at. Yeah, somebody was working this, turn of the century probably. This is old stuff, real old stuff. Okay, that might be enough of the Herbert mine, or what we're starting to surmise could be the Norgard mine, right? Possibly. Well, let's go down below and see if there's any buildings left over from the mine, or maybe even catch a glimpse of a cabin or some other structure that might have been, you know, under the ownership of the Norgards. All right, guys, about 400 or 500 feet down the hill, down the road from that Herbert mine site, and I found something. I found something here. Check it out. Steel pipe coming out of the ground. Looks like the part of a chimney flume there. Old cans. Some really classic stuff here. Look at this lid. Oh man, that's classic, classic, classic. Oh, that's even got some writing on it. That's a cool lid. Oh man, what do we got here? There's stuff everywhere down here. Good house keeping lid. We've got what looks like, you know, cabin wood. Planks, you know, 1-bys. Definitely some milled material. We've even got some old tar paper on it with nails and nailed in. Oh yeah. Look at, there's a wall. And then there's another wall. It goes all the way. This is a good sized room. And then another wall over here that goes back this way. So, and probably one right here behind us. So about right where I'm pointing here. So probably about a 12, 14 maybe by, we'll say 30 cabin, it looks like. Here's even some of the wall material still in place. Of course, more debris down here. Quite a bit more debris. Like an aluminum pan, an old pot there. Another big drum here. Quite a few pieces of metal. Yeah. A wash pan, perhaps? Just like new. Wash their face, their hands, or their nether regions. Uh-huh. All right, so I'm seeing over here what is more raised ground. There must have been another room or another cabin over here. Let me see if you can see it, right, looking down towards me. You follow the pointer. And raised around here. And we got a bunch of wood and nails and so forth in here. Some more pipe here. So at least 2 structures were here. The one that we first walked in on and this one. And I imagine if we keep looking around in here, we're going to find more. Well, I guess if you wanted proof that maybe this was a cabin that somebody was staying in and not just something for the mine site, you know, something for processing ore, here you go. It's an old spring mattress. Springs kind of go out like so. Yeah, in here. So yeah, I would say that this was something that people were living in while they were working the mine. Let's walk down in there and just see if there's any more cutouts in the ground for these cabin structures. All right, so 100 feet or so downhill from that cabin site we just found, I am now looking at another big deep hole in the ground, and there's a bunch of cans in here. You can't really see them, it's so dark, but there's a can over there. See a few. This almost looks like an old dump pit. You know, if you watched my last video, we discerned that a lot of times these old duffers, they would just dig a hole, and it looked like that's where they were throwing their trash. I guess it would make sense for back in the day. Oh yeah, there's a big dump right here. We gotta go check this out. Oh yeah. Dump jackpot, baby. Look at all this. There's cans everywhere. Some old glass. Yeah, what do we got here? What are these? I figure out what that is. It's like some kind of a composite material, maybe a battery cell, maybe? Yikes. Explosive dynamite? Probably. Cans, lots of cans. Look at all the ants coming out of there. Hey, big guys. Hey, nice to see you. Yeah, what do we got here? So a chimney. There's some type of a chimney piece for a roof. You know. I don't know. Another crushed one here. This just looks like a bucket with the bottom rusted out of it. There's a handle on it. You'll go, handle. There you go. Oh, no. Ground's getting a little steeper in here. I don't think there's any more cabin sites down here where I'm looking. Talking about how I didn't think there was anything else to look at here. Swivel my head around and see all this stuff. Oh, what do we got here? Okay, that looks like the top, probably to a stove. I'm guessing that would be the chimney. We got some lighter gauge metal for the sides. Almost looks like it was meant to fold. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's interesting. What we got here, maybe this is the rest of the stove. What in the tarnation do we got here? I don't know what I'm looking at. It's got chrome on it. It's a pretty lightweight tin. I don't know. Put it in the comments if you think you know what that is. That's interesting. I don't know. There's more of it here. There, I think this is more of it. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. This. Okay, so this matches that. So this looks like it's probably part of an old stove. I'm guessing the cook stove, maybe? Real lightweight cook stove. I'm not sure what this is. 4120, it's stamped, but that could be part of the stove as well. And there's wood everywhere here, so maybe we're sitting on another cabin site. See that? Just wood debris everywhere. So here's our bed if we want to stay here tonight. Looks comfy, cozy. And watch for nails. Huh, it's painted. I don't know if you guys can see the blue. It's painted blue. This looks like almost like a railing, perhaps. Your chimney exit for the roof. Boy, what I got here, that's a draft. I'd say that's probably for some kind of a stove. Yeah, lots of tin in here. Okay, well, I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff in here, and I'm going to be honest with you, at some point I may have to come back up in here with a pin finder and maybe a friend and do some more digging around. With my metal detector, it's just nonstop. It goes crazy everywhere I go in here. There's metal everywhere, nails, old tin, cans everywhere. So this was occupied for a long time. I mean, I would believe that this was probably a site that someone was at, you know, from before 1893 when the surveyor was through here until much later, maybe the 20s or 30s, maybe even the 40s, I don't know. This thing, still don't know what this is. There you go. Internet, take a look at this. You guys tell me what this is. I've been looking for stamping. I've got to know. What do you guys think? The Norgard area, is it really just the Herbert mine? I would say it is. We saw no other sign. Again, I was 3-4 hours down there in that godforsaken draw, trying to find some sign of life, you know, that something had happened, cabin sites, excavation, what have you. We found those roads, but no signs of anything until we got up here. And we're only maybe 1,000 feet from that spot. So I think they're the same place. The Norgard site is the Herbert site in my mind. I'm going with that. I'm going to stick with it. What do you guys think? All right, but we're going to leave this here for the ghosts and the grizzly bears. I'm going to get out of here because I've got about a mile, maybe from where we're at now, maybe about a 1.5 mile walk. And then I got to load up in Benji, which is a Jeep with only a soft top on it. Well, not even really a soft top, it's a bikini top, so I'm going to get wet on the way home, even wetter than I am. But hey, that's okay. It's all for fun. Hey, we'll see you guys next time. And if you want to subscribe, you can. If you don't worry about it, because I love you either way. See you guys later.
Thank you.